Ready machine. Live. Michelle, all set?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, welcome. Today is Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. Here for the regular Board of Trustees meeting in Orange Township. We'll call this meeting to order. Ms. Kraft, you can please call roll.
Mr. Grumbles?
Here.
Ms. Taranto? Here. Mr. Rivers?
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Had some issues with the main camera tonight, so we're working off of the computer. Is there any public comments tonight? All right. We have the first order of business, Tom West, to talk about Frisbee golf. We had a recent tournament here at Township Hall. Tom, if you'd like to come forward, and if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Thomas A. West, Orange Township resident, 7848 Charlie Court. Thank you guys for allowing us to have the disc golf tournament a couple weeks ago. Went very, very well. And we talked to you guys about the permanent course here. So I have some handouts to show you.
Thank you.
So most of you have already seen the proposal that I made about 8 months ago. We had hundreds of signatures for the petition to get the course installed. If you look at the second page, you'll see a map of the park with a layout that is very similar to what we used during the tournament. During the tournament, we did have one of the holes different that went over the parking lot, the bottom parking lot. So from this course, we were going to change that so that there's less chance of just hitting cars, obviously. And on this, you'll see hole number 9 in the top left is the main parking lot out front. What we actually did, which was very unique for the tournament, is we had 9 holes there that were from 10 to 50 feet. So it's like a putt-putt course, which was really, really popular with the younger kids and with more beginners and things. And we had 9 full-length holes through the rest of the course. So the proposal is to take out hole number 9 and put in the 9 putting holes there, which I believe will make us the only park in Ohio that has this. This is something that I copied off the park up in Rolling Hills in Michigan. And then there would be an added hole on the backside of the pond that goes down to the creek, goes down to the southwest corner of the property, which we did use during the tournament and was very successful. So I have a couple of people here I want to say a word or two just about the tournament, about disc golf and how they feel about it. The first is resident Dan Houston.
Hi, Dan Houston, 588 West Orange Road. My wife and I just moved here almost a year ago to the date from the Blackhawk area. So I grew up in Indiana and we loved Orange Township for this year. It's been wonderful. So we live right on Orange Road and we thought it'd be great to have a disc golf course close by. I've been a professional disc golfer since 1997. I played in the Professional World Disc Golf Championships. I played the United States Disc Golf Championships. And it's just great to have a course in a local township and municipality. It brings in a lot of good people. As Thomas probably told you, I know Ben came out and saw the tournament, and it brought, I think, well over 100 people from all over the state. People came, stayed overnight, they spent money here, and it's just a great addition to the community. So I thought I'd come out and support Tom since he was putting some posts out on Facebook pages that said, hey, I just moved to Orange Township. it's my wife and I's first year. I'd love to help, so I'm gonna come volunteer and kind of put in a good word for them.
Did you win?
No, I just helped them out set up.
Like
and
you're
do some
the
of fighting
professional.
content. I did, we had to let some other people play.
Okay.
Thank you for your comments.
So here at Orange Township, we have another professional that helped a lot with the tournament, especially the layout. His name is Brad Schick. Brad actually won the Masters tournament for 40 and over. He's one of the top. I think he is rated #1 in the state of Ohio. Very kind, very nice person, and been very, very helpful with the whole process as well. And I also want to bring up my friend Ethan Help and talk about the tournament.
Hello, Ethan Helton, 2715 Tucker Trail. And I really enjoyed the disc golf course when it was up. I know I played it a lot, me and my friends. I think I played over 50 holes when it was up. I was pretty upset to see it taken down, but it would be a nice addition to the Orange Township Park. And I know I come out here a lot with me and my friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, we could bring a lot of people to come and talk. I think it's kind of a brainer. I think the park is perfect for it. I think it would be something we can take a lot of pride in, get a lot of activity, and people get a lot of fun outdoors and things like that. Put together, if you look at the first page, it talks a little bit about the costs. You know, a top-notch disc golf course at this park will only be about $25,000 to $35,000. I've gotten some estimates from different disc golf companies. Really, the two things that go into it is concrete and baskets. Those are the main things. You'll have some signs and a little bit of landscaping. There's a spot over on the northwest corner that we may need a little bridge or two. But other than that, it's mostly just about the baskets. The baskets are anywhere from $13,000 for 18 baskets, depending on if you get their custom signs and what company you go with. The best company, most popular, is probably the Disc Golf Association. They're one of the more costly ones, and they're behind Discraft right now. You can't even order baskets from because the sport has become so popular. Innova has about a 10 or 12 week lag before they can get baskets out. Dynamic Disc is one of the newer, larger, better companies out there. And I have a quote from them for $10,060 for 18 baskets, 18 sleeves, 18 signs. It's only $10,000. They make really good baskets, and what I like about it is, Dynamic Disc and Latitude 64 are able to get those here in a matter of a couple of weeks if it's something that you guys approve. So just wanted to see if you had any questions.
Tom, I know that it's in our master plan here that Silas is going to review with us in a little bit. And I appreciate all the work you've done on this and the event that you put off. It was pretty incredible. I know a lot of people in my family, my son and employees, actually, they spent a lot of time playing this. So I do know how popular it is. Do you want to hang out and listen to Silas with reviewing the master plan, or I do believe this is something that's going to be part of it, correct?
That's the plan, yes.
Yes.
You want to talk about this golf course real quick?
Welcome to, I think, when we go to street operations, we'll discuss the Parks Master Plan. The results that came from the surveys and feedback from meetings. And that'll be one of the things that's considered going forward as we develop the entire master plan. Sure.
I think we're all in agreement that we want to see this happen. Absolutely. And it came in strong on the
Survey.
surveys.
I'm sure it's a perfect place for
The
it.
cost, the thing for me that stood out was it's a very affordable addition, low maintenance. And the thing I like about your design is it doesn't impact or impede on any other functionality. If you look at the green space and you look at the layout, you're utilizing the park without altering the other use, right? And we have a lot of issue when we're looking at our parks of trade-offs, cricket or soccer, for example, one or the other. And there's nothing here that would prohibit anyone from enjoying it, especially with the slope on some of the holes that are longer. When you look out, I mean, you play soccer below, and you'd have to watch out, but when people are teeing off and that kind of thing, but you're not interfering with the green space. So kudos for the design work, and the event was really cool to see. Parking lots were full and it was clean. There was no litter, there's no trash. Everybody was getting along, real nice crowd. And I was pretty shocked walking around when you showed me the course, how far some of the people came for a 9-hole course. It was amazing. There's people from out of state, all over the northernmost parts of the state, everywhere. And to see the young folks in our township that were out running through the course, even before the tournament, I saw people out playing. It's a great addition.
And the cost of the tournament was only $20 or $30, but people actually paid to come to the park to take part in it. And in a park that's only a 9-hole course, which most courses are 18 holes, and also a park that no one had ever seen before because it didn't exist. So
Right.
we're running temporary baskets for it. And we're hoping to have another tournament this summer, Christmas Cup here, and we could bring in temporary baskets again if we had to, but it'd be nice to have a permanent course installed.
I mean, you're utilizing space that's underutilized and on times where there's no one here. So I thought that was cool.
Compliments, not just from the disc golfers, but from passerbyers and things like that. We did have someone ask about the walking pass. It is very common for disc golf courses to share areas in Hilliard. They go through, the walking pass around the baseball fields.
It's just an adjustment.
Things like that. And the disc golfers, for the most part, are very respectful, appreciative that they get to use the land pretty much for free. They just need to bring a desk to be able to play. So they're typically very patient and respectful of anyone that's walking before we get out of the way and make sure that they clean up after themselves and after each other as well.
Yep, and you had some signs, I think, where there was cross traffic to, just to raise awareness as well. And I thought that was a good touch. So all stuff we can consider for sure.
Yep. Basically, the different entrances where people were walking in, and let them know that there was a tournament going on. And look out for flying this.
That's why there's 150 people here. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments on the proposal? Silas, do you have anything?
No, it's noted, Tom was pleased to work with the event, well thought out, well planned. We walked the course, presented a lot of different materials, so a lot of those things were pretty vetted to think about passing by the traffic flow, people coming through the park. So kudos to the effort he put into it to make it successful.
Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. And thank you for Ethan for speaking and coming out. All right. Any agenda changes this evening?
I just have a small one. I could actually just knock it out right now. That's not a proper way to say it, but I just wanted to bring recognition to someone that we lost last week, and that is Lynn Fisher. He was a very active community member, a good friend of many of us. He was very active in our parks, trails, Allen Creek. He did he chaired our parks board when we had them for several years. He attended many meetings. He was responsible for creating the smoke-free parks. He did spend a lot of time getting signatures for that. He was someone I was very proud to call friend, and I wanted to recognize his loss. And in a few weeks and a couple of meetings, I'd actually like to invite his family to the meeting, and we are going to have a special resolution written up to recognizing Len and possibly even naming something after him, a trail or so forth. So that's something that we're working on. But I wanted to recognize the loss of him tonight, and that he will absolutely be missed. So I wanted you to look forward to a meeting or two where we'll have something more official recognizing that.
And I agree with your comments. Actually spoke to Michelle last week about the same and proposed that we look at our parks and potentially name the park after Mr. Fisher, Lynn, or the trails. He was so passionate about the trail connectivity. In 2019, when I campaigned, I knocked on his door and he invited me in and we spoke for a couple of hours. And the next day, he was in the car with me driving around, putting out yard signs, telling me all this, the best spots and asking questions about the parks levy. And then the next week, he had formed a campaign himself and generated signs supportive of the levy. And we loaded back up in the car with all those signs and placed them out throughout the township in the levy passed. What I didn't know at the time was that, you know, Lynn was fighting a battle on his own with his health and would have never known that had he not told me later in time. But to see the commitment and dedication after finding that out was even more impressive. And he kind of shared a journey going back many, many years of advocacy for the trails and, you know, had some disappointment and some highlights that he reviewed with me and encouraged me to continue his legacy, if you will, of getting our trails connected and even tied into other communities. So put his money where his mouth was, very direct, transparent, authentic person, and will be missed. Anybody that contributes to a community like that, I think is going to be missed. And he certainly met that mark. He was a wonderful man.
Look forward to honoring him with his family. I have no other changes.
Almost I did have one.
Yeah,
Michelle doesn't sound.
no, it's okay. I have a few on behalf of the other department heads too. Under operations report, I'd like to add item E for the Canyon right-of-way acquisitions. Under fire report, I'd like to add accept resignation of full-time firefighter. And under administrative report, I would like to discuss setting a meeting for the records commission, records retention commission.
What was the records? You want to what?
I want just to have our annual meeting, and there are some documents that we would like to submit to the historic.
Okay. Can you get the changes in the agenda and then put that back out in the permanent copy online?
Sure.
And we always do that, but
Sure.
Okay.
No problem.
any other changes? Right, consent agenda. Are there any items on there that I've got one? Any concerns with the items on here? I know we were talking about the intergovernmental agreement with the finance authority last meeting. I wasn't aware that we were at a point of renewal, but I'm not comfortable with that. I'd like to pull that one off separately and we can vote accordingly on that. Under, I guess it'd be administrative report, right?
That's fine.
I know that there was some concern over zoning, but I think with the pause right now on the overlay, by the time you and Mr. Griggs in the zoning department get everything wrapped up, we'll be ready to look at our staffing at that point and see if we still need that or if we want to utilize our current zoning council. Any other concerns with the consent agenda items? Right. Make a motion to approve resolution 21-355 and 21-356 for the consent agenda
What did you say with modification?
with modification, removing the finance authority payment.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Tranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
All right, moves us to zoning.
Yes, thank you. have a fairly light agenda for the zoning hearings in the next few months. On Tuesday, November 16th at 7 p.m., the zoning commission will hold an organizational meeting to approve pending minutes, adopt a new calendar for 2022, and also provide an update on the zoning resolution rewrite. Following that, on Thursday, November 18th at 6 p.m., we do have one variance application, and they are seeking variance for a freestanding sign. I will note to the board, modifications have been made to the sign as staff did have provide feedback and concerns. So hoping to have a lesser of a variance request.
Is this the new facility? Okay.
And that's all I have for the zoning report. The next item under zoning, if I may continue.
Yes.
For the development and zoning director position description, I worked with legal counsel and I did make a couple modifications to the position description. But tonight I just asked for the board's consensus to, or I'm sorry, pass a resolution to approve the position description and then allow consensus for me to post and start searching for the director.
Okay.
And then I can wrap up the zoning report. The last item under there is in regards to the zoning assistant. That is Nancy Fay. When we were looking at increasing her vacation time, given her longevity here, we noticed that she was never formally appointed into this position. So we wanted to officially appoint her into her zoning assistant role, approve her position description tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or concerns?
No.
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-357, approve and post employment position description of development and zoning director.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-358, update the employment position of administrative assistant to zoning assistant.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
There's one more after that, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yep, I see that. Make a motion to approve resolution 21-359, appointment to full-time position of zoning assistant and establishment of compensation.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Mr. Bowers.
Thank you. Tonight for operations, I want to start off with a quick review of the Parks Master Plan process. We met with Frank Sarah Carroll recently here. She gave the results of the surveys and all the engagement processes we went through with stakeholders. The 10 different stakeholder groups we met with, as well as the online surveys and mail-in surveys and all the in-person stuff we went through. I've given one of the results to each of the board members, so if we had a chance to thumb through that a little bit. A couple quick highlights I just want to point out that kind of jumped out to me when we first were able to meet with them. On page 6, it highlighted the neighborhood park service areas on the map and highlights where we have good coverage for parks and where people can get within a 5-minute or 10-minute walk to parks. And looking at that map, it does highlight quite a few areas where we're not meeting the national standard. So it does give us some goals to shoot for as we go through the rest of the process. So I did find that kind of interesting as well. On page 18, I also thought it was really interesting as well, some of the benchmarks for the township as well as the national benchmarks and where we landed on those. It's real encouraging to see that we're ahead of the standard on our bike paths and our trails throughout the township as well. Obviously, there's a lot of connectivity to go and a lot of work yet to do on that, but I was encouraged that we seem to be ahead of the trend on that portion of it. Also, obviously, unfortunately, a little bit work to do on the percent of parkland that we're utilizing as developed. We're pretty far behind the national standard on that. And the other thing, this is a summary in the back on page 50, as Ms. Tranto alluded to earlier. One of the cool things about the summary that we get in this process we go through is really get to hear what the residents want to see in the parks, what we're doing well, what we need to improve on, or what we should be considering going forward. Within the summary, Mr. West talked about before, activity and trails, frisbee golf, pickleball. We heard a lot of the same themes over and over again, which again provides really good guidance for the Parks Master Plan Committee to move forward with as we navigate the process. But I did think it was some really nice information, some validating data that we got from this process. So we do have 2 meetings coming up, one November 17th and one December 14th. Will be very key meetings as we start to prioritize results of the survey and navigate the next steps of the path. And of course, the board is welcome to any of those if you have questions as well. Next up on the operations report, I'm going to do the next 2 together. Both of these are resolutions to authorize the Director of Operations to enter into agreements, one for the tops of the room for creating offices and storage space next door here, and the other one to do the same for the North Orange Park parking lot. We received legal opinion that we could utilize CARES funds for the paving of the parking lot. The bids that came back in through the group we were using came in very, very strong. So we're able to do more than we thought we were originally going to be able to. So both of those resolutions will allow us to move forward with those projects in short order. They both will be completed within the next month, probably 5 weeks, maybe give or take 5 or 6 weeks. And they are very time sensitive with the expiration of CARES dollars coming at the end of the year. All right, the following resolution is requires a little bit of backstory. It appears during the construction of North Orange Park, there was an agreement, documents, autographs, everything in place for the drainage ditch that runs from the fire station 361 across down into the soccer fields, all the way into the ponds on the west side of North Orange Park to all be part of ditch maintenance to Delaware County Soil and Water. It appears it was never finalized for one reason or another. The county as well as the township were both under the impression it was the county's contained. It now needs maintenance, and it was discovered that nothing was ever finalized however many years back. The resolution 362 is pretty much the guideline for drainage maintenance positions for the county to take that over several years after the fact. There is a significance on the timeline to that too, so they can get to work now. We have a significant drainage issue over there that they will be repairing. They're ready to mobilize for that as well. Obviously, the formality of finalizing the agreement is the purpose of the resolution.
We have I didn't see the estimate, the financials, so this will just get us started, right? And
Yeah,
then we'll
this
get
will get
this.
started. The communication I received from the county was that there would be no cost initially because typically they would do that at the onset of the project.
Okay,
Since it's been so long, they said they would take care of it now, then they would figure out the assessment value later on.
okay. Thank you.
And then I have one final thing, would you like me to go for that now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, final thing I have was the item that Michelle mentioned to add to the agenda. That is the Vale Canyon right-of-way appraisals. I received those after the deadline for the submissions for the agenda. The Dunn Associates have recompleted the work they began back in 19, I believe. That was stalled last year. They resurrected the project, moved forward with it. They sent us updated appraisal values for 34-ish properties that will be requiring right-of-way for to subsequently widen and add a bike path to Vale Canyon from Orange Road all the way down to Powell Road. The delay in the appraisals and filing and proceeding with this didn't have a significant change in cost to the appraisals themselves. So what I'm looking for there is a consent to move forward to sign the sheet that allows us to agree with the appraisal values, and then allow Dunn to begin negotiating with each property owner to complete the acquisition process. And funding for that was already allocated prior to my arrival. There will be some contingency money used to cover the difference. It's roughly $50,000 difference from what was budgeted and what is expected to be spent on the appraisals from the purchases.
Does the county chime in at all on that road as far as transition planning or looking at it long-term?
Very good question. We've had some initial discussions with them. They are really just awaiting the township's decision on timing so they can plan accordingly. The Vale Canyon project was divided up into 3 phases and is obviously a long-term project, arguably probably our last large road widening project within the township.
Shanahan would be the other one.
Yeah, and that'll be a split project, and there's already some funding for that, obviously, with that farm as well as future shops and development there as well. So that one shouldn't be as big of a financial hit for the township, but this Bill Canyon one obviously will carry a pretty big price tag as well. I'll also add that we met with Preservation Parks recently, and their development of the park property south of Orange Road, north of 71 is contingent on, they're kind of waiting on us to begin the road widening and bike path process before they start their project. So there's a small caveat, but also a little nugget that's is tied to the project and directly.
Yeah, I'd like to propose that we talk with the engineer's office, similar to how we're talking through Orange with the underpass, knowing that it's going to transition at some point, but we have to find obviously middle ground on the financials to your note. I think there's just one section after that on Bill Canyon, between the roundabout and the two roundabouts, I guess, Orange and Lewis Center, that will be coming up after this one, between Powell and Orange, right? That's this route.
That's this one.
And then there'll be that one section, and then it's at Owl Creek at that point, so it'll be done.
And most of that work, if I'm not mistaken, I know they widened, curved, and guttered,
They
and
did.
bike path that whole stretch. I don't know if there's plans on the west side of that as well. If there are, I have not seen it.
I don't know. So either way, I'd like to talk with them, especially with the long-term plans of moving traffic around. We'll need that road, and it'll probably move towards with the connectivity to Polaris and everything, you know. Just want to run it by them, that's all.
Yeah, that's fair. The one thing I'll add with the appraisals is based on the time frame at which this project itself has kind of rolled out over the years, stalled a little bit, they got picked back up again.
Need to go.
Appraisals do have a deadline on them as well. I don't know the specific date, but I know when we resurrected the project, it had a little bit of sensitivity to the
Yeah, no.
time that it would expire.
Thank you. Any questions? Make a motion to approve resolution 21-360, authorizing the Director of Operations to enter into an agreement with IAP Government Services to perform renovations in area known as the Thompson Room located in Township Hall.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto? Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-361, authorizing the Director of Operations to enter into an agreement and agree to obligate the necessary funds with IAP Government Services to perform asphalt overlay and striping of North Orange Park parking lot.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-362, authorizing the Township Administrator execution and authorize the filing of application and agree to obligate the necessary funds to complete the North Orange Park drainage maintenance petition.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Make a motion to, not a motion. I guess the next one would just be consent, right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I give my consent to move forward with that right-of-way acquisition. I'll let each-
I do also.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, fire report.
Good evening, board. First, I want to start off with thanking all of you for your support, and also for the community that support our levy. And we'll continue to, for the next 30 years, be supported and also hopefully make our department better and give a better service than we do now. I really appreciate all your help, and I appreciate the community support on that. So, unfortunately, I come tonight to bring a resolution for accepting a resignation of one of our full-time firefighters, paramedic Tyler Stevens.
Any questions? Make a motion to approve resolution 21-363, regretfully accepting the resignation of full-time firefighter paramedic Tyler Stutz.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
And I'd echo what you said. Very much appreciate the community backing our fire levy. I know there was a miscue and a lot of questions about the levy, but want to reiterate that with the renewal, we keep the state offset or kickback that historically came with that levy. They're no longer available. That's a financial benefit to the community. With a renewal, as our tax base grows and expands, the levy amount is set. And so each property holder's share goes down. So this is what the effective millage on the tax, on the auditor's website refers to. And applaud the fire department to continue to work with the board and find ways to be efficient and make cost-effective decisions, fiscally conservative decisions, and that's how we can offer these renewal levies and stretch your dollars out, your tax dollars out. So thank you to the community.
Absolutely.
Fiscal office report.
All right. I'll start with our financial report for October 2021. The reports, you guys, I sent you the highlights. You've got the bank rec as well as the other operation reports in your email, as well as sitting in the back for review and signature. Some highlights as of October 31st. Our ending cash position is $29,914,606.00. Includes no change in our investment mix, still 8.7 with Fifth Third, 10 million with Star Ohio. I'm expecting that we'll start to take some of that Star Ohio money and move it over to Fifth Third, maybe buy some commercial paper there for a little better yield. Our fund or department cash balance, general is at 7.6 million, roads at 2.9, fire at 9, and parks at 5.3 million. Our expenses through October 31st are 13.2 million, and our tax revenue through October 31st is 17.7 million. Our Delaware County Foundation current balance for the Veterans Memorial as of September 30th is $38,631.04. Due to the $500 per year in fees we're receiving there, I'm going to be looking to probably get that moved over in this next quarter to bring that back to the board to consider moving over to First Commonwealth with the rest of our stuff for now.
Do they have an interest-bearing account that we can legally tap into for
The
that?
Delaware County Foundation?
No, through the First Commonwealth. Okay, we'll make money instead of spend, you know.
Yep. Okay, next, resolutions, appropriation changes. We'll start to see these coming through. The first one is in the resolution is for the American Rescue Plan. This is what we can spend of ARP money this year that will keep us under the $750,000 for a single audit. And that'll be used for the parking lot, I believe, or some of that will be used for the parking lot at North Orange Park. Under Parks and Rec, that other expense that is, we had to increase that. That's for the stuff we're doing with unclaimed funds. We had to increase the appropriation in case people request their refunds of the unclaimed fund money, so we can issue those refunds. The same for motor vehicle license tax. And then last but not least, under general fund, with additions to the administrator's office, we had to increase our salaries there for the remainder of the year, as well as roads with Silas and Alex, their salaries coming in, we did increase that amount also. Last but not least, we're trying to spend down the last of our CARES money. So you'll see we based on projected spend with Silas and the chief, as well as the salaries line items there is for the vaccinations. Trying to align that so we can meet those requested needs. I'm guessing there'll be at least one more change after we find out exactly how many vaccination bonuses we're giving. So, but that's what we know today. So that's the appropriations one. Next is spot labor. You guys are probably, and also speaking of appropriations, we are working right now on 2022 appropriations. I did send you guys an email about some possible changes. So if you could take a look at that as far as how we want to account for certain salaries as well as vehicle expenses and things like that. So if you could take a look at that at your convenience, that would be great. We plan to bring 2022 appropriations to our first meeting in December. Okay. Then the spot labor. So you guys are probably aware we have the payouts coming out for unused or for vacation time for our firefighters that is over 168 hours of vacation, as well as EDOs and holidays that get cashed out. as well as sick time bonuses. So those will be paid out at the end of December. Traditionally, Brenda Church has done that for us, and she's agreed to come back on a part-time as needed basis, so no commitment to hours, no benefits, no OPERS, nothing like
What
that.
does she handle again? Can you clarify?
Brenda?
Yeah.
She was, she.
I knew what she,
Okay.
what's she coming to handle?
She's gonna come in to handle the payout
Okay,
and kind of go through that with us.
Okay.
So, okay, so she's a good resource for that, so we are bringing her, like to suggest that we bring her back. Like I said, no guarantee of hours or anything like that, it's kind of a, as we need the support, to be able to use her, so we do have the.
Also, hopefully train.
That's the plan.
yeah, you have process flow on that.
You got it. So, and also, I mean, she has a, you know, she just has some good knowledge that,
Absolutely.
didn't transfer, unfortunately, like we would have hoped. So this is an opportunity to try to get some of that knowledge. So, and also, I'm sure Chief probably has questions for her too. So it's, hopefully a good sharing of information. So that's what those next two, resolutions are for.
Okay. Everything?
That's it.
All right. Any questions? Make a motion to approve resolution 21 364, revising and or increasing permanent appropriations established in resolution 20-401.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto? Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-365, approve employment position description of administrative spot labor.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-366, appointment of position of administrative spot labor and establishment of compensation.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
It'll be good to see Brenda again.
All right, Ms. Bonnie?
Yes, thank you. So the first thing under our administrative report, we had, well, one, we established a healthcare committee this time around, and we had a representative from each department. Then we held 2 meetings to discuss, to work towards a renewal of our current insurance, which is with Aetna. We then worked with negotiations with Aetna, and what we came to is a 6.25 increase in our insurance for 2022. Based on the feedback I received, the committee seemed satisfied with that, as we were expecting a little higher, and we were fortunate enough to get a little lower of an increase. And what I'm just asking for the board tonight is consensus to move forward with the insurance renewal, and then we'll come back with the finalized information by the end of the year. Following that, the second item on the agenda is a administrative report. It's regarding the administrative manager position. Valerie Bunting has been a great support to our team, and we wanted to, one, address her position description to provide myself as the administrative director support. And she's helpful to all of us, and I would like to at least give her a manager role, if she does have an administrative assistant under her. And with earlier discussions, we do have an employee agreement in place for her too. And then item C, the additional, or we have 2 additional items on our administrative report, the records retention. I would like to ask the fiscal office and the chair to schedule a public meeting to discuss records that we are willing to, or we're able to dispose of and send to the Ohio History Connection. And I'd like to move forward with that by the end of this year. So we can figure out a date for that in the next few weeks. And then the last item is the BCFA agreement. Trustee members that we want to discuss further on that.
Yeah, we can discuss that now, and then we can vote on it accordingly.
Well, Trustee Grumbles, I will say, if we are terminating the agreement, what my understanding is if we can authorize myself as the administrator to send the termination notice. That's what
And I know we have some terms of separating that, ending that agreement too. I think it's 30 days or so. So it'll be pretty much calendar year
Yes.
separation. Any questions or comments? Right. The first item that you requested was consent to move forward with insurance renewal with First Commonwealth, and I give you my consent.
I also consent.
Thank you.
How does the 6% compare to previous? Do we know that?
Last year it was only 1 or 2%,
Right. I
but
thought
they
it was
didn't
lower.
have any history with us yet.
Yes.
So we didn't, they didn't
Okay.
have us.
So this year is expected to be higher, of course, and then hopefully the years on,
I know the first year I was here, it was significantly higher.
I think it was at 12%.
Yeah, so good. Make a motion to approve resolution 21-367, update the employment position of the office manager to administrative manager.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
Congratulations, Ms. Bunting. Been an asset to the team for sure.
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-368, hiring and establishing the terms and conditions of employment for the administrative manager.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes,
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
Yes.
I would echo that. I think you've, the most valuable thing you do here from a culture perspective is kind of hold the fort down and keep the team engaged. And I've really been grateful for your presence and everything you bring, your demeanor, everything. So we're very fortunate to have you. I'll give, my consent to work on the annual records meeting. I don't know, do we need to schedule a date now? Or do you want to discuss that and then schedule it the next meeting, or?
Look at my notes, I
It'll just be
apologize.
can we do it at a formal board meeting? It has to be its own meeting,
It
correct?
does have to be its own meeting. Do you recall if they scheduled it at a trustee
We did
meeting?
not.
Okay.
It was just emails
Okay.
going back and forth.
So once we decide on the date, then we'll publish it out.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with
Exactly
that.
right.
As far as the intergovernment agreement, I think that'll have to be a resolution, so it'll be 369, Ms. Kraft.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-369, authorizing the administrator to terminate the agreement with the Delaware County Finance Association.
Second.
Sorry, catching up here. Mr. Grumbles?
Yes,
Ms. Taranto?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers?
No.
Now, because it's 30 days, do we need to pay that last?
I'll look into that and
Thank you.
and I'll give my consent to make any, financial terms, and if we have to do it then and now or something, we can do that. Or however we need to. We have, at the next board meeting, we can approve the payment,
okay.
whatever it comes up to.
Yep.
I do not believe we need an executive session tonight.
That's correct.
Okay. Anything else before we depart today? Make a motion to approve resolution 21-370, meeting adjournment.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Taranto? Mr. Rivers?
Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.
You can sign Val's employment agreement. for you.
Yes, bring it over. If you want to just bring it here, we can just pass it down real quick.
I think there's some things to sign in this office. Is that
There
correct?
are, thank you, Deb.